Leave your comments on the Ask Reddit sub, and I'll read your answers on the next episode of LWIAR. Which fictional character would still be alive if other characters had used a bit of common sense? All of the deaths in Jurassic World stem from one scene when no one was using common sense. We can't get a visual on the creature. It must have escaped its enclosure. I'll go in to investigate. Wait. Before you enter a death trap with a genetically modified killing machine, abomination. Why don't we turn on the tracking device to see where it is? Oh yeah, it would have been pretty stupid to have rushed in when you were literally about to activate its chip. Huh? It's still there. Oh, now I see it. Looks like it can camouflage. Good thing we didn't release it to go on a killing spree in the park. Now go spend some time with your nephews like you promised, you insensitive B-word. Even if they didn't think of this, does the enclosure not have human-sized door? Did they have to open the damn dino gate to go in? Whoever designed that should be fired. No Jurassic Park movie would have happened if the characters used common sense. Should we breed dinosaurs, including dangerous carnivorous ones, and put them all on an island for people to look at them? Hell no. Ending credit. Yeah, but the scientists were so preoccupied with whether or not they could. They didn't stop to ask if they should. Hey, do you think we should do this? Quote, I don't see why not. David Attenborough wants us to, and I trust him to know about nature and stuff. I think that was Richard Attenborough. My god, what have we done? Should we go check via the maintenance entrance or just open that big butt door? I believe they went in through a small man-sized door, and then when trying to escape the worker opened the bigger door. You definitely should not be able to open that door without like two people inserting a key and turning, nuclear missile style. Turns out they actually did spare some expense. Lesson of the first movie, don't mistreat your IT department. Wasn't just the IT department. Hammond and the others behind Jurassic Park freaked up a lot of things. Because they continually made dumb choices. The Triceratops, stegosaurs in the book, were getting sick every few weeks because of poisonous plants in their habitats chosen because they look good. The animals weren't eating from the plants themselves, but were ingesting berries from the plants every few weeks when they would swallow new gizzard stones. IIRC. Lots of the security systems didn't run off of auxiliary power, particularly the fences. They didn't properly research amphibian DNA before using it to fill in the holes from the degraded dino DNA. Otherwise they would have figured out that it let the dinos change sex in certain circumstances, the way frogs could, etc. King Kong. In retrospect, maybe New York City wasn't the smartest place to bring a gigantic gorilla. He would have fitted in perfectly in Florida. Would they even have noticed him in Australia? I mean, they already have giant everything else. Just throw him into the Sydney Opera House and feed him. Romeo and Juliet. Yeah, when have teenagers with a boner ever done anything with common sense though? Not them, everyone around them. If they just let them make out a bit and then actually had to have a conversation with each other, instead of making eyes and thinking about naked activities, it would have sorted itself out. This is what people miss when they say RMJ are just teenage morons. That's not the point. Teenagers are supposed to be morons. The problem is, all the adults around them, from their families to their nurses to the apothecary selling them poison, are being even more childish. That's the real tragedy of Romeo and Juliet. And if they had just thought, wait, we hate each other, but with a political alliance through marriage, how freaking powerful would we be in this city? Everyone would have been happy. They're silly teenagers and they'll grow out of it, would have also served. Juliet is what? 13. Edit. I'm not saying all teenagers are silly, but these two sure as crapper. Sirius Black. Come on, Dumbledore, really? The gloom of Grimmauld Place parted, and a gleaming silver doe walked towards Sirius. Her beautiful head tilted, and her long starlight lashes fluttered. She opened her mouth, and the deep voice of Snape said, Hey, Fricker, are you still at your house? Quote. Forget Dumbledore. If either Fred or George had looked at the Marauders map and noticed that their little freshman brother was spending his nights curled up with some dude named Peter Pettigrew, half the wizarding world would still be alive. There are like 15 ways Sirius would be alive. Mostly Harry's stupidity plus Dumbledore plus Snape plus Sirius for going at all when he was told to stay out of it. But mostly Harry for not studying occlumency, not listening to Hermione's correct logic, and not using that goddamn mirror. Harry too. He literally gave you something to use in case you needed to contact him, and instead you decide to break into the Nazis' office and then the Department of Freaking Mysteries where your friend's father was almost murdered a few months ago. This one I go with just because enough time has passed that I believe Harry genuinely forgets about the mirror, and it makes sense. It's something he never even unwraps, so it's an abstract concept to him rather than a concrete object, and then hides in the bottom of his trunk. I had also forgotten about it by the time I got to the end of the book, which was a few days later for me and several months for Harry. I actually think this is one of the few times in the books when Harry doesn't go barreling headlong into danger without thinking. He tries to make sure Sirius is okay. He tries to go to Dumbledore. He even tries to get a message to Snape. And although that works, he had every reason to believe it hadn't. Honestly, that's the part that really gets me on rereads. Harry manages to come up with, he's got pad foot in the place where it's hidden, and Snape can't manage to work the word mystery in when Umbridge asks him what it means. It adds to the tragedy of it all that the one time Harry really tried to plan, it all fell apart anyway. In Harry's defense, he didn't know what the package that Sirius gave him was. He assumed, not unreasonably, that it was something that might risk Sirius getting arrested. To add to this, in the book, Harry actually uses Professor Umbridge's fireplace to contact Sirius via the Flu network, and Sirius never brings up the two-way mirror as a more secure method of communication. Edit. Holy banana bread. This is now my fourth most popular comment. Anything would be a more secure method of communication than the Flu network inside Umbridge's office. If Sirius had actually been home, or if Umbridge's supply of Veritaserum hadn't run out, she absolutely would have had Sirius dragged back to Azkaban and probably, definitely, get the Dementor's kiss. All things considered, Sirius is lucky he got killed by a spell and not by having his soul sucked out of his body. Harry actually calls Sirius twice the first time. He speaks with Sirius and Remus regarding James's actions as a teenager. As I recall, Umbridge was supplied with false Veritaserum, so it wouldn't have worked anyway. Veritaserum is described on Pottermore as clear and odorless, so I like to believe Snape just gave that B-word water. A major part of the Dothraki army sending them all straight ahead in pitch black was, IMO, a questionable decision. Don't worry, they were all back in the last episode for some reason. The entire GOT fan base would still be alive if they used common sense on the last two seasons. I've never seen a fan base die so quickly. In the snow, no less. Because we all know how accustomed to fighting in the snow they are. And with weapons that wouldn't work against the Whites, that was the original plan. They didn't know that Melisandre would come and light their Arryx on fire. They put their infantry in front of the walls. They put their siege weapons in front of the infantry in front of the walls where they will only get one shot off. Waste of time and resources. They sent their cavalry on a head-on charge into the darkness, which is the worst use of cavalry, hoping they would come in contact with the enemy and do something. They just lucked into using flaming swords last minute. They placed their infantry not only outside the walls but in front of the flaming ditch, making choke points that their own soldiers had to run through. List goes on in terms of stupid tactics. NK deserved to win. I'm not exactly a stickler for realistic fantasy battles, but seriously, you don't need to have a degree in military history to point out the brain-dead tactics in that battle. It's like the opposite of LWIAR, where the orcs do everything right but still lose because plot. I can understand the entire infantry in front of the walls as a delaying tactic, but as you point out, they should then be positioned behind not only the ditch but preferably also obstacles clad with dragon glass. Also, there does not seem to have been any reserve plan regarding the defense of Bran. Oki. So Theon defends him with a couple of Ironborn, when they know the NK is going that direction. Gods. That battle was stupid. That entire season was so stupid it is beyond belief. Apart from the battle that a 11-year-old with 2H in any strategic game could have won aside. I killed my own king and betrayed my vows for the people character says that he never really cared for the people, or the abolitionist queen going full Nazi on innocent people because of bells, or the absolutely not human anymore cripple with seemingly zero connection to the real world becoming king, or that John is still punished by his own siblings after the only people that cared for his death going away, or the North becoming a different kingdom as if the other kings wouldn't immediately do the same. You could have written a disappointing ending, or even ended on a low note like The Office after Michael left. But to so thoroughly assassinate so many plot lines and characters, it takes real talent. Marvin from Pulp Fiction, poor guy. Oh man, I shot Marvin in the face. WHYDAFUQUDODAT. Who swings a gun around like that without a safety on? Vincent. Because he was a sloppy idiot. Vincent also died because he was a sloppy idiot. Edit. Yes, I was enamored where he was on heroin. Still a dummy. I need to take a crap, better leave my gun outside. The MAC-10 was Marcellus's. He didn't take it with him because it was too big for his shoulder holster. The Jedi. If Anakin had some sense. Or if Yoda did. Or if they'd acted on any bit of the mountain of evidence they got something was up in the Clone Wars. Senate not acting on a mountain of evidence that their leader could be corrupt. What a bunch of nonsensical fiction that would never happen in real life. Slightly frowning face. Or if the three masters that had gone with Mace Windu didn't get their butts kicked in seconds. Seriously, how the hell did these guys even gain the rank of master? Nobody could possibly be prepared for an old man to screech like a banshee and spin jump at you. Like that. They had lightsabers. All they had to do was stab him. Stick him with the pointy end. Or any end. I saw Skyfall the other day. Don't keep the cyber terrorist in a cell completely controlled by computers for some reason. And then plug his computer into that system and allow it to run executables. And don't have a very convenient escape route very close to his cell. I enjoyed Skyfall, and I think it is a gorgeous movie. The plot is insanely stupid at every turn. After the escape, their plan to defeat Silver is to use an untraceable vehicle to leave London so he can't follow them. And then use a computer to create a false trail to where they are actually going. They want to lure Silver to Bond's Scottish mansion in the middle of nowhere to kill him. Do they coordinate with MI6 to send an assassin team? Do they send Scotland Yard? The SAS? No. They decide that Bond can probably handle it with whatever old hunting weapons might still be lying around the mansion. And in the end, the bad guy succeeds in his plan to kill M and end his own life. But somehow Bond and MI6 consider this a bittersweet victory. You failed completely. Love this plot hole. Let's go ahead and not air gap our systems from each other because Sue, they literally did the drop a flash drive in the parking lot and hope some moron plugs it in. This question's practically written for the friends of Derek Zoolander. I'm sad now. Anyone want to get me a orange mocha frappuccino? Holy God, I had completely forgotten about this scene. That is hilarious. It's not like nobody else has lost their friends in a random gasoline fight. Quicksilver. He has been shown to be faster than bullets. Then get shot. WTF. Such a waste of a fantastic character. IKI. Have you seen the OSP video on character deaths? I highly recommend. Link for the lazy. Everyone in Evil Dead if people would stop reading ominous Latin. Hey look, I found this really creepy old book bound in human skin, written in blood, and full of obviously evil demonic crap. I should read aloud from it. Honestly, I might have done it too. How were they supposed to know they were in a horror movie? Always assume you're in a horror movie, you'll live longer. My entire D&D party, sorry guys. Every D&D party, if we're being honest. Hank would still be alive if Walter White didn't keep books in a bathroom. Or continue making drugs after getting off for $5 million. Thanks for watching LWIAR. The best of recent r/AskReddit submissions and comments. If you like this video, check out LWIAR too. And don't forget to like and subscribe.